falling apart. You couldn't walk on the porch. The porch was all rotted out. The roof was terrible.
Pretty well gone. Yeah.
And then the hurricane come and it finished up.
Oh yeah, I would say that probably didn't help.
This is an old boathouse that was from the river that they put canoes and their stuff in. It was out over the water, and water management when I bought it, they said you got to move that. You can't have an enclosed structure over the river. Anyway, I moved it up here.
Oh, that's cool. So that's original.
Yeah, built probably in the 30s, and there used to be a chicken house set right there.
Okay.
And it was falling down, and then there was another little old shed thing here around these water pumps, and they were falling down, so we had to get rid of them altogether. This is a garage where we keep tools.
Oh, you got
and stuff
a brand new Gravely.
Yeah.
Did you buy it at Bouyer's?
Those are nice.
Oh, did you? Good guy, Mike is. Really good guy. He's helped me out since I broke my leg, and they've kind of worked with me on my, having to go to the doctors and stuff. It's just real good people, Evan and them up there.
So beautiful.
Miss Cindy.
It is.
I didn't know if that stuff could go along. Mike in a wheelchair and you on crutches.
Yeah, right.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I love the gazebo.
That's pretty.
There was
That's
a gazebo
beautiful.
there originally.
Oh, I see what
It
you're
was round, just a round one, and the hurricane tore it up in '04.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, look at that staghorn. I
This
know.
is so nice.
That is
I
a
love
huge
this. I
staghorn.
don't know if you might know Mr. Jim Pollard. Oh, you do know him, yeah, Mr. Pollard.
They was out here last week.
Were they? Yeah, I started working with him a little bit. What I try to do is, like, when I go into these places to do a paranormal investigation, like, usually what I'll do is I'll take some good still photos for him and some video and stuff, and I'll blow them up so he can put them in the archives. Just in case something happened to the place or a hurricane, come through and messed it up. I want to make sure that it's preserved.
Wow.
And I love Mr. Pollard. He's such a good guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is really unique, man. This is probably the best spot that I've been to yet.
Yeah, these oak trees are over 200 years old.
So they were here
Wow.
long
Oh my
before
goodness.
the fort all was here.
Oh yeah. The fort, actually, there's a trailer park down the river, about a mile, and the fort was actually down there where the trailer park is now.
Okay.
So that's all.
So it's
trailer
all
parks
gone.
and There's
So there's nothing left of
There's
it.
nothing there but mobile homes.
Wow, what a shame. What a shame. I was doing some research, trying to find another spot in this area to do some paranormal investigating, and they said that where the old courthouse used to sit in Bassinger, the old hanging tree is actually still there. They used to sit behind the courthouse. I've spoke to a couple locals, and nobody could tell me where it actually sat at.
Yeah, well, this was Fort Bassinger,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little town of Bassinger across the river, about 3 miles.
Yeah, I've been to the cemetery down
And
there.
this is a cemetery there, church.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Babe, will you sit these back there with you?
Yep.
Oh. Wow, this is so unique. So much history. So Edna Pierce Lockett was
Just gonna sit 'em
on
like
the
this.
Florida Senate.
She was in the legislature in the 50s.
There we go. Yeah.
And that was the original family that homesteaded
Yeah, well, her granddaddy started it back in 1850s, and he had just a kind of a one-room house there, or cabin to start with, I think. And then the Civil War broke out in like 1860, so he went to Georgia and wherever fighting. He was fighting with the Confederacy, and so after the war, he come back and built a house. They called it a board house, because it made out of lumber instead of logs. And so then he had a couple of kids, and he had a son, and that was Miss Edna's daddy. And
wow, that's unique. And the actual family's buried here.
yeah.
Wow. Yes.
That's
So
pretty
cool.
cool. Yep.
This place has got to be haunted. It's got to be haunted.
So
You were telling me a dump truck driver actually felt like he seen.
Well, he backed up there and dumped that red sand when the light shined on the house. I swore I seen people walk around in there.
Wow, that's so
That's
cool.
pretty cool.
It's so unique. I've had, you know, I didn't start the paranormal investigating really. I didn't really get too heavy into it until about 6 months ago. We went into the Kenilworth Lodge to do like a historical, documentation or whatever, and I said, you know what, they talk about this place is haunted and whatever, so we decided, a couple months later, I bring these two in, and we go in, and I'm laying on the bed in one of the rooms, and
212.
we're in room 212 on the second floor, and there was a guy named George Parker that was the manager of the motel in the 50s, and he died in the hotel. And she looked at me and she's like, Jerry, the curtain's moving on the window.
Yeah.
And I look over and the curtain's just kind of
Waving just a little bit, but there's no breeze.
There's no breeze, there's no electric, the windows are shut, there's no movement in there. And I said, well, George Parker, if you're here, will you move something for us? And as soon as I did, the door to the hotel room slammed shut.
Oh yeah, I kid you not.
Yeah, and it was
man.
propped
It was
open.
Crazy.
And it was propped open. And ever since then, I was like, you know what? There's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was pretty skeptical going in, and that happened. And I'll tell you, I definitely.
I'm not gonna lie, it scared the shit out of me.
We left immediately
We
after.
got out of there.
Because that door, it's not like you could just touch it and it would close.
Yeah,
you really had to put some
You
force
really,
behind
like, it drug on the carpet, you know what I mean? Like, you couldn't just, it wasn't just a swinging door, and it
telling you,
slammed
though,
shut
that's
on us.
still
I couldn't believe it. And ever since then, these historical places have just drawn me to come to places that have a lot of history and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Mr. Pollard loves it because I'm able to come out and get film and pictures and stuff that, he really can't get out and get anymore, so he likes it whenever I go out and do stuff like this, so I really enjoy it.
This was the formal entrance
Lockett Lane.
off of 98 Lockett Lane
Lockett Lane.
Wow.
with the street lights and all.
Yep. Is that that's the original ones? Probably, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
But Water Management had this place, and they bought it just to get a hold of the land so they can do this restoration stuff, and they bought several 100-acre or 1,000-acre from us. But anyway, they wound up with this, probably got it in with a deal with several other 100 acres or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they had in mind of giving it to the Historical Society they offered it to the game department, and they didn't want it, and so they offered it to the Atlantic University. Has a boat. You see the roof of it,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
and they bring students up here and before all this virus stuff happened, and they take them for a ride on the river and show them
Oh, that's cool.
That's pretty cool.
animals and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Like a biological school.
Yeah,
Or,
and then they take civic groups on whatever. They take about 2 trips a week, and but since all this, they ain't doing anything.
yeah,
for
with the
several
virus
months.
and shit. Yeah.
But anyway, Water Management had just they couldn't get anybody to take it. They offered it to the county, and they didn't want it because they let it go too far. And the barn was falling down, the house was falling down. So when I bought it, there was no lane here. You couldn't see it. It looked like that.
Oh, it was all grown up. It's all grown up.
There's a gate, there's got to be a road, So I come here with the loader and pushing.
And you finally found it.
And I said, oh hell, there's a damn light post there. And I went a little bit farther, and there was another one,
Wow, you found Lockett Lane. That's so cool.
Wow. Really.
Hey, that's
Look at this
unique.
view.
So this,
I love that.
Lockett Lane was the most
That would be so pretty without the bridge, though.
Yeah, this is so beautiful.
That's
I know there's some good catfishing down there.
yeah, right. Look at that. There's even a little boat over there. seen better days.
Wow, these old trees out here are so old.
I'm loving the trees, man. They're just.
I'm guessing that must have been the old schoolhouse.
That white building is
Yeah,
the old school.
it is.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
This was one of the sheds in the river. They didn't want to move it. They had a water pump and stuff in
Okay.
it for irrigation.
Mm-hmm.
I moved it up here. The old sailboat I bought at an auction. I said, well,
Hey.
that'd be a good
Be a little project.
Yeah.
thing to move up here to. Anyway,
Oh, this is so cool.
but yeah, them old trees in here, and I've saved a lot of the old stumps. We see them piled up over there,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
and some of them are like 5 feet.
Huge. Yeah.
Wow, they would have to be what? Probably at least 200-300 years old at least.
I'm sure.
I would think so. Yeah.
Wow.
It just amazes me what this place had to have been like, you know, back before, 98 probably wasn't there back then. That was probably
Hey,
a cattle trail.
It's just a trail, and after she got into the legislature, she's the one that got the road built and the bridge built.
Oh, really?
Oh wow.
So Edna Pierce Lockett made 98 happen.
Right. Nice.
Wow,
I didn't know
that's
that.
a piece of research that I couldn't find.
Yeah.
And well, her daddy's name was Sidney, and so he had, they had, I think, 20,000 acres in here.
Wow, they
Oh
had a bunch of
man.
And so he had money, and so they had kind of, the road, they had kind of made it into more of a road than it was a trail.
Mm.
And they had a boat that would take you across the river to go on to Okeechobee. And so he hired a bridge building people out of Ohio back in 1916 and he built a wooden bridge across the river.
Wow, so people could get across.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if he charged them or what, but he took his own money and had the bridge built over there.
Wow, that's so cool.
And so that lasted for up until I think in 46. In 1946, they built
Built the concrete.
the concrete.
Wow.
Okay.
There was, I can't remember if it was Mr. Pollard or not that told me, but I guess Edna Pierce's, what was it her husband that taught school at the schoolhouse?
Her husband was an Englishman. She was a school teacher in the schoolhouse. The schoolhouse was built in 1910, and she taught school in it for 20, 30 years.
So that was for the whole town of Bassingers.
The schoolhouse was really across 98 and down the road about a mile.
Oh, really?
And so,
So they moved it.
Wow.
It's quite a feat.
they kept school in it till 1960. And so they abandoned it in 1960 because it lasted 50 years.
Yeah.
And so her daddy built the schoolhouse. There again, he had money, I guess. So he built the schoolhouse and give them the schoolhouse and give them the land to the county.
Got it? Yeah.
And so then after they abandoned it, I don't know if she had it moved over here or maybe water management had it moved over here. That's what it's been for the last 20 years.
That is really cool though that they actually were able to bring that over and preserve it. That's
Yeah, I got pictures of it on a big house moving truck.
yeah, one of those big machines.
Cool.
That's cool though. That's amazing that they were. I think just what you've done with the house is amazing. Just that you were able to actually restore it and bring it back to what it used to be is. I bet it was quite a project.
Yeah, it was falling apart.
So
Yeah, this if I would love this one day. I would love owning this one day. If I owned it, I would probably never live in it. I would use it as like a historical piece.
Yeah.
I would. It would be like a museum, historical.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna do it.
This is so cool.
Just kind of preserve it. We got it preserved now.
Do you? Yeah. I was reading where when you took the yellow carpet up, the original wood floor was still pristine under it.
Oh, wow. That's cool. How much property do you actually have here for the
It's, about
estate?
18 acres.
That was
Wow.
quite a bit of room.
That's a good size.
Yeah.
18 acres.
Hey, this is awesome, y'all.
This is really cool.
This is cool.
Man, talk about history. I mean, I can imagine seeing the horses in the field.
Well,
and
if you
stuff.
imagine, like back during the, if you think like back during the Civil War, you know, Edna Pierce Lockett, back when they were there, she probably fed them meals and cooked
Oh,
meals
yeah.
for them and stuff.
Yeah,
and-
this was the main headquarters, and they used a lot of horses. And this was a horse pasture
Yeah.
Oh, for the
Okay.
soldiers.
for the cowboys.
Yep.
Oh,
Wow.
And because they had several thousand acres, and they'd wear out a horse in a day, and so they'd turn him in and get a fresh one.
Yep.
And they'd get their orders, you know, go over here, go whatever. And so the cowboys would come here of the morning and get their horses and get their orders.
and ride out. Wow. So
Barn.
Edna Pierce Lockett was a big part of the Civil War here during its time. Was a big part of supporting it.
The barn stood right here.
Oh, okay. This used to be the barn here.
When I got it, it had just fell down around itself.
Yeah, I'd seen where on the picture where it had like the hay roof, the original hay roof on it. Yeah, the
That's
picture-
kind of funny.
hay lawn. I like what you did with the stoves.
Yeah, that's pretty cool looking, actually.
Now we had burn piles and burn piles,
They are huge.
you know, stuff, but this is some stuff that
My goodness, those were some old trees.
I didn't want to burn, so we just got them for.
Man, they're
Look at that.
gigantic.
Yeah, that is.
Wow.
Wow.
Every time I've rode by here, I've always stopped and looked at these trucks. Every time I've
Oh,
ever rode,
yeah.
yeah, just because they're
Those are some pretty old trucks,
They're sitting
man.
timepieces.
Yeah, this is old stuff that I accumulated in a junkyard, you might say,
Ha.
and it was just old stuff. So I put them out here just for conversation.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey, you're recording right there?
Yes.
Oh yeah, here, record me real quick. Hey, just for everyone to know, big shout out to the owner right here. Thank you so much for letting us come out. It's been great. This is awesome. It's absolutely amazing. If you need something, if you need a used part, go to Old South Auto Salvage. Take it to Old South. This is the owner of Old South Auto Salvage in Lake Placid. If you need parts, if you need something done, take it to Old South.
Wow, look at that. That's amazing.
Whenever
Wow.
they decided to move this thing, all the windows were broken out of it.
From vandals and
From back, it was sitting back in the woods,
Yeah.
and so then they abandoned it and just, you know, got what they wanted, broke the windows out and stuff. So when they moved it, they just put some plywood shutters, and stuff,
over it, yeah.
Okay.
just to keep the rain stuff out. And so when they brought it here, they put it back on a good foundation, I guess sort of like what it was originally. And they put some new roof, a tin roof on it when they set it here, but it had been sitting over there for 50 years or so, and the termites had
Eating it up.
Eat it
No.
up.
Probably wasn't much left of it.
The porch was gone. You couldn't walk on the porch. And they had used it to store feed and mineral stuff for the cows.
Oh boy,
okay.
so
And
probably get a mouse or
Is
rat
it
problem
walkable
then.
inside? Is it?
when we got it, you couldn't walk in
You
it.
couldn't
Yeah.
walk in it. You had to put a floor in.
They
it.
had. I'm sure you've seen them big two-wheel dollies that you used to at a feed store where they put about 500 pound on there.
Yeah.
So they just knocked holes all in the floor, and then the termites had eat it up. And
Wow.
the first year I had it here, I didn't even go in it because you couldn't. It was nothing but spider webs, and it had
Yeah,
old,
right. Ew.
plaster in the ceiling,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh.
plaster on the walls, and
It was
all
all
that had
coming
fell.
off.
And old plaster was that deep in the floor,
Oh, really?
and it was. I tell you, it was beyond repair, but it still, but it had a good roof on it. So I didn't do anything with it for a year, and there were 2 years really. Anyway, got it fixed up.
Wow.
This is where some of the windows that
Wow.
was there.
Oh, those were the originals, huh?
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
BB guns shot it.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
those little BB guns.
Aw.
Kids out playing in the woods and stuff. I wonder if I can see through that.
Yeah, that little hole.
I'll open it up a minute. We can go in there.
Oh, it's so cool.
He's so excited.
I'm like a kid in the candy store.
Oh, wow. This
Those
is beautiful.
doors all rotted out. We see the new lumber was in.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Beautiful.
Oh, look here. We're coming off. We're going to the.
Actually, no, I left it in the car. Sorry. Oh,
Wow.
look at that.
Look at here.
Oh, and there's a crypt. Wow. I would imagine there would have to be because of the water table, you know?
Oh, yeah.